Welcome back to another Spotlight Podcast episode where the truth meets receipts. I'm your host, Little Way, and tonight I'm joining my lovely wife, Mimi. We're diving into a topic that hits every household, but few truly understands: birth records, trust, and the hidden business behind child support. This episode isn't just conversation, it's a learning experience. We're bringing the facts, the laws, the cases, and the receipts. So sit tight, take notes, and let's shine a light on what's really going on. What's up, sweetheart?
Hmm. Hello. This is different for me. So, yeah, I'm ready. All right.
You ready?
I am. This is different.
It's different. It's
Yeah.
different for me too as well. So we're gonna get into this. My first question exactly was, what exactly happens when someone is born? What does the state record, and why does it really matter in life?
Well, when we normally think about it, we think that our child is just being, we got to get a registered name, a birth certificate, and a social security card because we need that to identify our child. And um, the kid has to go to the doctor and all this other stuff. So normally that's normally what we think when we sign up. But when a child is born, the state well, your vital records, every state has their own vital records, which is where we go get the birth certificate at their office. They create a live birth record, which becomes the birth certificate. And then they typically register the name, the date, the time, and your place of birth. And if you notice, you have a birth date and then a registration date. Mine specifically was nearly 3 weeks later, March the 2nd. I was born on February 13th. So I had two birthdays, basically, or on the birth certificate, I got two birthdays: a date of birth and a registration of birth, or however they want to put it.
The registration, birth number, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And like I said, mine is in March, but I was born in February, and I still find that very weird. But that is a record of your administrative file. So it creates the state's bookkeeping for your name. And when I say bookkeeping, I mean like accounting, money. So so yeah, they keep record of everything that your child actually does, and not only them, it's the Social Security Administration. Um, that's for the parents who actually apply for a Social Security card or a Social Security number, however you want to put it. Uh, Everybody does not do it, so don't think everybody does. Just because you're born in America doesn't mean you have to have a Social Security number or a birth certificate. So if the parents, again, if they apply, they get a Social Security number. Then you have the rest of the state, local agencies that rely on your data. Of course, like the courts, hospitals, for benefits records, and what they claim is identity verification. And it matters because it's all part of an administrative file that becomes very persistent to your legal and administrative identifiers, which of course are used in government benefit systems like your Social Security system, again, taxes and anything, health, anything that you're connected to, it's all running in that same thing. And it creates a huge paper trail with all the identifiers to the different agencies, and they use that to match you to all your records and so forth. And that all can be found, that whole manual can all be found in USC, which is United States Code. Anytime you see USC, it means United States Code. So USC Title 42, and that would specifically be the Child Support Enforcement.
Got you. So you also mentioned, you said you're booked, not born. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by
I
that phrase?
I like to think of booked like of course those of you who have been most likely to jail or something, you are booked. So it's to me, I kind of look at it as the same thing. You're booked, you're not born. So to highlight the difference between the live, like the breathing human being, which will be the living person, and then you have that administrative record that was created at birth. So the state books. It's a log, a name, a registration number, dates, and that creates a file that can be used in commerce or in administration. So when someone says, book, like, okay, we put it in the book entry system, or again the accounting system, because every move you make, or shall I say, every of every aspect of your life and every move that you make is in general to them a money grab. So everything you do, put it on the books. Go to court, put it on the books. Go to the doctor, put it on the books. Go to school, put it on the books. It's so much that we don't know that this can go on for days. And it is, of course, used in all, but only accounting for benefits and things like enforcement, or enforcement of any type of obligation, whether it's a loan, child support, or whatever the case may be. It all ties in to one thing, and it's just a way to frame that the record has administrative consequences that follow you forever. So administrative consequences are, of course, everything that we're doing administratively with the registered name.
Got you. When a birth certificate is registered, what files or numbers are created? Which agency or is in what agencies get involved?
Typical items created and agencies that use them are, like I said, vital statistics or the vital records entry. Every state has the same name, but it is kind of worded different, which is where the birth certificate is in the beginning, and then they kept that by the state, and then the county, your local county that you're born in, they also have one in their office, and then your state registration number or local file ID number, which is the, of course, register number, or the register number at the top. Now that is your registration number at the top of the birth certificate. That's your internal tracking number on that birth certificate. I noticed that no matter how many birth certificates I would get, I would have one number on that birth certificate that's still the same. And if parents were to request a social security number at birth, Social Security Administration will issue, of course, a social security number, and then that creates a Social Security Administration file. And then state child welfare, health, immunization systems are notified, and they are notified in several jurisdictions, which is most likely county, state, and federal. And then, of course, wherever you touch down at, you move states, then it's, of course, it follows you. And you're in everybody's jurisdiction at that point. If a hospital or registrar reports to other agencies like Medicaid, WIC, or public benefits, additional administrative records are created, and that is basically a cross reference. And that's kind of like it's not like it's kind of like interstate to me. When you say it out loud, it's kind of like an interstate transaction, although you're still within the state. Even if it's just this agency, that agency, we're all sharing your stuff. It kind of seems like, because they all kind of got their own policies, you kind of mixing those jurisdictions, because of course they got jurisdiction over you once you sign that paper, and that kind of makes it seem like it's a lot of mixing and crossing the jurisdictions internally within the state.
I mean, technically that has jurisdiction by the birth certificate itself, as what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, because most likely if you interact with any of the agencies you're going to most likely have to give your birth certificate or your social security number, or either way it goes. And then once you sign something, as we don't really know that we are already signing them to be our
executive beneficiaries,
our
trustee.
Yeah, we just put in a little box, and they just taking all kind of control. So yeah,
Huh.
that's the crazy thing. But it is used again for all your benefits, even if you get SNAP or WIC or whatever the case may be. Your education, like I said, enrolling in school, you got to give your birth certificate and your social security number. And then, like I said, enforcement, which is making sure that they're enforcing you to pay your bills or any other obligations that you have. So you would keep certified copies of the birth records and any registration notices, so you can track where the administrative identity exists.
How does the child support system actually operate, and how do federal and state agencies work together under the Title 4D?
Title 4D. Title 4D. I kind of hate that as it says, it's high level shit. So the federal framework on that part is Congress created the Child Support Enforcement Act, which is 42 USC 651. And I think I just gave the last one, which is the overall part. But if you really go through the laws, you'll see how one title is broken down into probably 100 different little pieces that all connect together. So it's basically, the laws are basically a manual. So that was created under the Title 4D Act of Social Security. And the federal law authorizes funding and national standards and requires states to operate programs that locate the non-custodial parents. They have programs that establish paternity, establish and enforce orders, and then collect support. States receive federal funds in return for meeting the program's requirements in order for them to get the federal funds. And to be honest, they also are supposed to be taking those federal funds to create other things like reunification services, therapy services, parenting classes, teaching parents how to co-parent, and just anything that is supposed to keep a child's best interest. And I don't think they advertise those good things that they're supposed to use the federal funds for enough. That stuff you got to call for and really be trying to figure out if they have any programs that help somebody who needs some help. I got this cough, and that's trying to fuck with me. Excuse me, but each state does run its own Title 4D agency. As you notice, each state has their own Social Security as well. So, this does fall under the Social Security Act. When I talk a lot, having a sore throat, it really fucks with me.
Take your time. Take your time. For everybody that's watching on TikTok, we are going over how child support is started, where it's from, how they get you into the system, and so on and so on. But let's take a quick commercial and we'll be right back. TikTok ain't special. They can get the raw footage. And your camera disappeared. I figured you'd already knew that anyway. But you ain't even All right. We back.
All right, my bad. I almost felt like I was dying real quick. All right, but where I leave off though, I'm saying that the state administrations, they each run their own Title 40 program, often called the Child Support Enforcement Agency. They handle all the cases. They issue the withholding orders that they get from the Attorney General. And they pursue enforcement, which is your wage garnishment, tax interceptions, and license suspensions, which is unconstitutional. Matter of fact, all of those are. It's not just the license thing. It coordinates with the other states, and then the states follow the federal rules for the data, reporting, and enforcement to remain eligible for funding. And I do want to point out, because the Caucasian people are 100% with me on this one. In the state of Kansas currently, the state of Kansas, the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Services, which is also KDHE, that is also over child support, SNAP, and all of that stuff. They were supposed to turn over their wages. A lot of states have to turn over wages. I mean, their records, because of the fact that they have been misusing the system for the federal funds. And at this point, for the state of Kansas, they have, like, I believe to the, what was it, the 20, I think it was the 19th, actually. So Saturday or Friday, they had till Friday to turn over records. And what those records are going to show is how many people that they applied for services that they got denied, and the state still kept the federal funds. It's also going to show that for child support, SNAP, mainly those two, how they've been taking the money, how they've been distributing the money, and also the people that they have been, or how much they have been giving people and denying people, because, well, we'll get into that part about how they misclassify things and change shit up in order to get to keep the federal funding. But the feds are not really paying attention to their these agency guidelines, how they're switching up the language. So I guess we'll get into that. I do believe. Yeah, so just the coordination and enforcement, they have to use specified procedures and systems like the income withholding locating information for non-custodial parents. And then they create the funding and administrative framework, and that compels their whole fraudulent operation, basically.
Got you.
We're going to get into how they be lying.
So let's get into it. Walk us through how. Well, that's what we just. Yeah, no, yeah, right. Walk us through how child support orders move from local case to an interstate enforcement case.
Okay. So from local to interstate. Okay, so local orders issued in a county court, and then they give you what your amount, your income withholding order, and boom, that's when you get your enforcement paper, and it says order established and whatever else, I guess, depending on what state. And then you get the registration or the referral, which is part of the application. And if the obligor, the person has to pay, or the obligee who is getting the money, they move or enforcement is needed in another state, then the initiating state or party files under the UIFSA, which is the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act. I just learned that there was about three more different family acts that we really got to dig into, and it's federal type acts that they basically, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't follow this shit at all. So they out here really fucking shit up on purpose by the way of what's already put in place, only because of the state agencies, the way that they're structuring things. So yes, the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act in the other state, and then UIFSA is adopted by all states, and that provides a mechanism to register and enforce the orders across all the states or state lines or whatever you want to call it. Respondent state enforcement. The respondent state's child support agency treats the registered order as enforceable in that state, and then they can issue an income withholding order to local employers, and then take administrative enforcement steps and use local remedies. That is not the way they do it. I promise. It's just not.
It's not.
I get a lot of people complaining about even when they switch jobs or they have to go to a new state and they switch jobs, like people who pay in child support. It's not. I personally don't think that it's your job to notify the administration that you move, because they're gonna find you anyway by your fucking social.
Correct. That, and I feel like, whose business is that for you to give out that I'm even working for you anyway?
Right. It don't make sense to me, but
I mean, I didn't heard a few other companies say that they get fined from the IRS if they don't get that type of information out to other agencies.
that's interesting, because they truly, it's not even that hard to get the damn information. It's just not. I mean, I understand you got to have permission.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can't be a concrete law where you truly have to, because then at the same time, if you give it to the IRS, then you're going to be violating that person. You're going to be violating something, because everything we do is a double negative. Yeah. Everything is a hypocrisy. If you give the information and you have to, guess what? The job is going to be violating the employees' fucking privacy.
Yeah, but it's still, like you said, it's a double negative, because it's depriving of somebody's rights right there off tops.
Yeah.
And that's been proven. So for it being depriving of someone's rights, you got to go back to, technically you can sue your job for,
privacy rights.
Privacy rights, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reporting shit, and yeah, privacy rights. I mean, that's not just a job. That'd be child support ass.
Yeah.
And that's illegal too.
Yeah.
So everything they're doing it's all a double negative. And
they use your, like you said earlier, beginning of the video, you said that they start off with the birth certificate. So when the birth certificate and everything else, which we'll go on later into these questions on the social security number, the social security number ain't nothing but a tracking number. It's pretty much, that's your ID. You really don't need an ID. You just need a social security number. It's gonna pull up.
Why we got an ID?
Right.
because it all ties back to you, no matter what.
Right.
I mean, I guess they want to know what you look like, but what does that fucking matter? You need to know if I'm black, yellow, blue, or green. That's all it is. My name and age ain't my name, birthday, and age ain't changed. All that shit needed social still the same. So yeah, I don't think we need an ID.
No, we don't need an ID.
But so the respondent state enforcement, which is the state where the child is, that support agency treats the register order as enforceable in their state, which they can issue an income withholding order again. And that goes again to the local employers and all that nonsense. And that's just another thing. Like, wherever the child is, of course, mama can move or dad can move 3 different states in 2 years, and you can have a case in each fucking state, and they can stay open forever, whether you're still there or not.
Yeah.
Because as long as one is active, they all active. Apparently so.
Yeah.
Then you have the interstate tools from UIFSA that allow direct income withholding across the state lines. And then the interstate passport denial, which is another right that is being infringed upon. The tax refunds, intercepts, that's a right being taken away, and cooperation with the federal programs. Now, it's funny that they say that because the administrative child support auto motherfuckers, they don't never cooperate correctly either.
No.
The process can be fully initiated by the state's IVD4 or IVD program. And the obligee or whoever, sometimes the federal office of child support enforcement. And it's crazy if they're the obligee. How did I ever owe you fucking money as the obligor? I don't even know you.
Yeah.
But they become your sure. They take the bond out for you, so we know each other. Plus, the parent that is getting the child support gave the kid away, so the state has all rights to do whatever the fuck they want.
Let me break that down for the people that didn't catch that. So what she just said was, and this came from a judge's mouth theyself. I'm gonna quote exactly what he said. Child support is not meant for the child. It's meant for the benefits. Keyword, benefits.
Benefits.
For the child. So what she just broke down was when the mom goes down there and apply for any type of assistance, she has to give your dad's name up, or who she thinks the dad's name is, just to get the assistance. What child support in the state does, they do a little wraparound. Now that she gave a name and thought that was your, who the daddy was, or vice versa, even if you signed a birth certificate or not, they're gonna go down there, get a blood test, prove the baby's yours. Once they do that, voila, you are now paying for what she just went and got, just because she signed your name, her name, and the baby's rights over on a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period.
You got your child up and done, not even knowing it. So I'm gonna trade my kid for some change.
Yep.
For life, for 18 years.
For some change for 18 years, just so the state can take them and do whatever they want to do in the courtrooms. But that goes back to something you said, the bonds in the courts, that goes that too. So the bonds, what I learned when it comes to these bonds in these courtrooms, every court case for every person, that judge is creating a bond. They are putting $50 down on the person's head without them even knowing, just to keep this bond going, to keep them coming back to court under their jurisdiction.
Ain't that like the minimum that you can monthly pay for the most part?
$50. $10, $50, $5, whatever you can possibly pay, but the minimum is $50. Sometimes if they put you on a payment, I guess it depends on the state because they can do 75 for a minimum as well.
It definitely is on the state.
But yeah, it's I also read when it comes to the court creating bonds, when it comes to child support court, the state itself, which is child support, cannot Title 4D cannot double dip, which they do, which is a federal offense of a constitutional violation.
RICO.
It's RICO, stealing for one.
Thievery.
But yeah, that's part of double dipping. And I'm gonna let you talk about more on these bonds because you know a little bit more about these bonds than I do. My question is, when it comes to this situation, is you compare child support cases to trust bond with bonds attached. How does that work in practice? And how could a family find out if a bond exists?
Well, courts and child support programs operate under statutory and administrative systems. And when I say statutory, anything that has a law like that's a United States or a federal law is statutory. It's a statutory jurisdiction. So anytime you interact with everybody, well, people like the courts or one of the agencies or credit, all of that, all of those are, it's a statutory jurisdiction. And in that statutory jurisdiction, it becomes legal and it is no longer lawful, to sum it up. And that's, of course, again, with administrative as well. So that's Title 4D and the UIFSA. And it's not literally, they're not literally as private banks, but many administrative actions involve financial instruments and liens and garnishments and sometimes third-party guarantees or even insurance and performance or surety bonds and some specific program structures like these, like child support. When people say bonds attached, they're often describing commercial accounting practices or insurance guarantee instruments, which are used by entities involved in collections. Now, how do you find out if a bond or a related financial type instrument exists for a case that you have? You can request accounting from the child support agency. I have learned, as we did, that they will give you a soft accounting. Yeah, they get soft. There is a hard accounting. If you're better off going through the Department of Revenue for that in the state. Or you can go, you're supposed to be able to go to the court clerk, but as we know in Missouri, they act like they slow, they don't know shit. So that's a waste of time trying to get the shit from them because the financials go through their asses as well. But other than them, Department of Revenue, because they hold the fucking transactions. So even if, as a matter of fact, when people do taxes, your state's revenue is the first one who pings the offset, and they send that to IRS. So because it goes through state revenue before it goes federal.
Gotcha.
So they all working in cahoots to fuck with people. You can ask for a full payment ledger, any custodial trust accounts, or any bond or insurance records supporting the enforcement actions. They're gonna act like they don't know. But they fucking know. And what's the other word that you asked for? What was that? The true bill. I feel like that word has gone out of style. because they truly do not know what it means
They don't
at
even,
all.
they act like they don't even know what it is.
They don't know. No, none of them know. They just doing the job that they're supposed to do for the most part. They don't know any terms of anything. They just do what they supposed to do on the computer, basically. Um, that's why I can't argue with them because they think they know everything, but they don't. Title 4D agencies maintain records and they must produce agency records in administrative proceedings. So requests via formal discovery or an administrative request, and then keep certified mail receipts. Always send things certified mail or registered mail. And when I say certified, if you send it certified, they give you a green card, and most likely they have to sign off on the card. It's extremely tracked, and that's for you to cover you in case they say that they never received it. Well, somebody received it because the post office said you did. You signed off on it, and the card comes back to you in the mail. So that way you can keep your proof. That may be a good step too. Requesting the administrative records from Missouri. Administrative records. So that's the discovery.
Hmm.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, discovery. File a records request or subpoena in the court that issued the order, the original child support order, or to obtain the attachments, the underlying security documents, or any financial instruments used in administrations, use the administration if they exist. We know they exist. Don't let them tell you that they don't because they fucking do. You have all your audit trails, which are payment ledgers, garnishment orders, intergovernmental transmittals, and account reconciliations are the primary documentary places to look. And if the payments were securitized or third-party instruments were used, then that should appear in the agency's financial records or contracts. And again, they're going to say that they never ever had them, or they don't know what you're talking about. And I can give it to the people at the bottom, people that you're actually talking to. They may not know a damn thing, but they boss do. So we already know they full of shit. They gonna deny, and it's all practical fucking financing. So yeah, just request the information. If they don't give it, if the court don't give it, the agency sure ain't gonna give it because they don't really have to. Apparently, the state agency don't, like child support or whoever. They don't, because they just a fucking little administrative agency. But if they don't go to the next person higher up, and shit, attorney general, he the one, or he or she is the one making the plays. Yeah. And they're the ones that's sending it up and out, and they got to sign off on the fucking orders.
Yeah.
And they got to do fraternity and all that stuff. So I believe going to the sources is more valuable, because you can't tell me at all the court cases we didn't watch. Attorney general ain't got no information. They got all the information.
Yeah, your job, how much you make, how many hours you worked, when you started, when you quit. They got all that. They got your high school diploma, or if you got one, I bet they do. Yeah. If a parent believes their payments are being misapplied or double collected across states, what documents should they request immediately? Always ask for certified copies of everything. You keep your originals and and the certified, but you always want to get stuff certified. Don't just go ask for a copy of your order, your child support order, or any of the documents, because trust and believe the regular documents are all certified anyway. So just say you want them certified, because certified means certified. Mm-hmm.
It means nothing more. Certified court orders for the child support obligation, which includes the docket numbers and the dates. The case docket sheet, which should have all the filings, judgments, and continuances. That's something I did not see. Which all the continuances were not in the packet that was requested. And notice that. A payment ledger and accounting from each enforcement agency showing the payment date, amount, application to the principal and interest in the balance, and then interstate registration documents from the UIFSA registration forms and transmittal notices. And showing when and where the orders were registered. Income withholding orders and employee remittance records for each state, which, of course, again, and if you actually pay attention to the income withholding orders, they actually do say remit or remitted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's real big because that's a financial document that is actually most likely securitized because it says remitted already on it. And that's every time you go to a job and they send you the IWO and the one where they ask for the medical withholding. So if you notice, it has OMB, which is the Office Management Bureau, which it's another one of the bureaus that handles a lot of the money.
Yeah.
So anything with OMB on there, that's a financial document because it went through the financial system, and it has a barcode on it too. Orders and notices of arrears, demands, or administrative actions, which could be your suspensions, any liens, which would be why they would take your taxes. Hell, I think they're putting liens on bank accounts now for child support. I know it's another law that supposedly just passed about if you're 30 days late, then they can start those type of enforcement actions like the liens and all that nonsense, the license. And I still don't understand why they still do the license thing when that been gone. I could have sworn that been gone, like they're not supposed to do it anymore at all.
They were supposed to. They're not supposed at all, but they still do.
And that's in all states. Is that I don't know. That's crazy. Any communication from child support agencies, which are notices of state action and tax intercepts. These documents let you reconcile payments and show whether the same amount was applied in two places, misapplied, or not credited at all. And if the states are double collecting, the ledgers and registration documents are where the error or the evidence of double collection will appear. Keep those certified mail receipts for all requests and use a formal discovery if needed. Interesting.
SNAP benefits are federal, but states sometimes define income differently. How is income really supposed to be defined under federal SNAP laws?
SNAP. Let's see. Everybody knows SNAP is the food stamp or whatever you want to call it. It's the food stamps. It's a federal program which is under the Food and Nutrition Act, which is 7 USC subsection 2011, and that is administered by states under federal rules. Now I'll say it again. It's administered by states under federal rules. And the federal implementing regulations at 7 CFR 273.9 set the definition of household income and the list required inclusions and specific exclusions. And states must apply those federal rules when determining eligibility and computing benefits. Now, if you again go look at 7 CFR 273.9, it basically says how they set the definition for household income. Now, a key point is while states administer SNAP, they may not, and this is for any administrative agency, they may not redefine income or any other term that is being used in anything, they can't change. A state cannot change it, or the administration cannot change a federal term because you're getting federal benefits. So while they're not allowed to redefine income in ways that conflict with federal regulation, there are enumerated exclusions like certain reimbursements, specific types of benefits. And although they provide categories and calculations for earned versus unearned income, if a state states that treats certain employer credits, what are employer credits? Employer credits are what you see on your paycheck, your net and gross pay. Them is credit. Them is credits. We all know those are freaking credits. Your wages and income is credits if you got a job, or if you sign the if you sign the I-9, you agreed that you would receive credits and remuneration, and then when you got the job, you signed the W-4. Then you just told the IRS that you're going to be receiving credits, and that your employer is now the person responsible for filing your taxes and taking your income taxes, and then they become your fiduciary agent. And when they file their taxes, they file a part of your taxes because they have to. So boom, your taxes is already paid. But then you turn around because you want a little bit of change and you file your taxes again. So therefore, you're the one that's really committing fraud on the taxes. But the IRS ain't gonna say nothing because they're gonna take you a little bit. They're gonna, we're gonna give you what, $7,000
out of the 36,000 you just made.
Out of the $50,000 you already made and was already fucking taxed on throughout the fucking year. Who's really, committing fraud on taxes now? Come on now. It's you, your job, and the IRS. All your motherfuckers is committing tax fraud, if you ask me, because you ain't your fiduciary agent. Your job is. And they're the ones that's supposed to be responsible for paying your damn taxes. This is just crazy. So, again, if a state treats a certain employer credits or reimbursements as countable income, contrary to, again, 7 CFR 273.9 C, to be exact, all of those exclusions can be challenged. And I'm one of them people that's going to challenge, because I want you to know your shit if you're going to be getting federal funds. And that's why Kansas don't want to turn that shit over now. Governor Kelly, turn that shit over. I know she's seen my letter. If you ain't got nothing to hide, turn over them motherfucking records. You've been misappropriating funds. You've been taking applications and cashing them in.
Yeah.
You've been saying, motherfuckers, somebody, I'm broke. My income is this, but your income definition. So now, all these motherfuckers got this income that's not gonna add up. That shit ain't gonna add up when that Social Security shit hit. It don't add up. It never does. That's why they keep finding out all this money from Social Security. How the fuck is that? Where all this money come from? Why is there so much money sitting? And now we got to figure out where it's got to go, because people ain't been doing right. Shit, they giving all the money over to Israel and shit. All the motherfuckers, they ain't doing right.
Man, I see. So what rights does someone have if a state misclassifies their income and tries to cut them off benefits?
Always read your papers that they give you, because they always tell you about discrimination, fair hearings, and things like that. Rights and remedies. Your rights and remedies and hearing information. Gotta read their papers, because they tell us in black and fucking white. And we just don't read. We just be signing shit. You can always do an administrative appeal, which is a fair hearing. SNAP recipients are entitled to an administrative hearing to contest adverse actions. use the agency's appeal procedures, which is always on your paperwork again. Really, before you fucking citation, it is on there. Um, so their procedures and request an expedited emergency hearing if your loss of benefits will cause immediate hardship. Now you will hear them say that we're backed up, and that ain't got nothing to do with you. Regulations and state policies set timelines, and each of them do have a timeline. So if they say, I think it's Kansas is 30 days. They have 30 days, but 30 days to set an appeal date for you, but you have 60 days to contest and ask for a hearing after a denial. You can invoke federal rules in the appeal and cite 7 CFR 273.9 and argue that the agency misapplied federal income definitions and provide documentary proof such as pay stubs, employer statements explaining the nature of employer credits, accounting that shows the credits are reimbursements or non-countable. Due process in Goldberg, if they cut benefits without timely notice or a hearing, procedural due process protections from the case Goldberg versus Kelly required an evidentiary hearing before termination of benefits in many contexts. Cite Goldberg when arguing the interim relief or expedited process. A federal complaint, if the state file a federal complaint with the USDA and FNS or seek a review through federal channels and consider the CFPB or state attorney general for systemic abuse, depending on the issue. Always document everything, keep copies of everything. Literally, I don't care if you got to have it backed up on your computer or, I don't know, screenshot it in your phone and send it to your email. Always keep every piece of communication from the time you sign off and say, I agree to the damn hearing.
Got you. How does the Goldberg versus Kelly case protect families with agencies won't stop benefits?
So Kelly versus Goldberg, 397 U.S. 254 in the year 1970. It was a landmark Supreme Court case establishing that welfare benefits are a property interest entitled to procedural due process. Specifically, the recipients are entitled to an evidentiary hearing with notice, opportunity to present evidence, and an impartial decision maker. Before termination of benefits, when such termination would be a deprivation of important subsistence to needs. So, if they're going to deprive you of any need of yours, then of course that's a no-go. So definitely use Goldberg versus Kelly. Practical use in SNAPs for other similar benefit appeals, and this could even be for Medicaid or TANF. What else do they got? Old age survivors. They're for the geriatrics, and they say no. They got a lot of programs. The agency, they must provide a timely hearing and adequate process, notice, evidence, disclosure, opportunity to be heard before cutting benefits. Use Goldberg to demand interim relief or an evidentiary hearing if procedural safeguards were not followed, which 9 times out of 10 they were not. So yeah, that's Goldberg versus Kelly, 397 U.S. 254. The year is 1970, and you can definitely find it. Google it or Google Scholar. They have all the cases up there. Google.scholar.com.
Google.scholar.com.
Google.scholar.
Have all cases.
Yep, just look cases up. There's all kinds of stuff on there. They've got state cases. Federal and state. And I think they got cases from other countries. Because I haven't seen Australia and Canada.
Okay. You've argued that the Social Security number are administrative files, not credit IDs. What does that mean for everybody's use, everyday use?
A social security number was created as a taxation and a social security identifier, supposedly. It is an administrative key used by government systems to match records like for your employment taxes, benefits, and earnings history. Over time, the Social Security number has been widely used for identification by private parties like banks and landlords. But its legal origin is mainly just administrative. And it's crazy to think that a landlord or even a bank is a private entity or a private business. Implication for people or the everyday person giving a social security number to a party or anybody creates a link between the administrative identity and that party's records. That link is powerful because many government and private systems cross-reference everybody's social, and then they're supposed to treat the social security number carefully, but that is your job. That's why the card says it says don't give to what did it say? Don't give it to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give your social security number to anyone. I can't remember the law right now. I think it's like 8 USC something, but it's an 8 USC 8 Title 8 of the United States Code. Look for it. It tells you not to give your social security number out to anybody in general.
Yeah.
Only use it where possible. Use entity identifiers like your EINs or use your EIN. Is it cool?
Right now.
Yeah, use EINs or trust EINs for commercial credit, and then keep your personal social security number exposure minimal. For disputes, this distinction helps argue that the social security number's use is administrative and must be protected under privacy and data rules. FCRFA, which is the Federal Credit Reporting Act, for all your protections when the social security number, your social security information is being misused in credit reporting. So again, we got to stop giving out our social and start using an EIN. Even though they don't be wanting that, they want your social, and it's like, why do you want my social? This, if I have an EIN that puts me right back to my first, middle, and last name and my birthday, why do you still need my social?
True.
So what's behind the social that you really needed when the EIN is already? Because hell, other people who come in the country, they get an EIN or TIN to operate and be identified. So what's the fucking difference?
True.
Start telling motherfuckers I ain't got no social. I might start doing it. I don't got one.
And start giving my paper. This is my social right here.
Yeah, I don't got a social no more. I gave it back, or I never had one. I'm illegal. I just speak good English.
Yeah.
If they want to, I'll speak it. Get a British accent going on, shit, or from Jamaican or something.
If someone finds errors or unauthorized use of their social security number on a credit report, what are their strongest legal protections?
Like I said, the FCRA, which is the Federal Credit Reporting Act, y'all gotta start using Chat GPT and ask Chat what the fuck it is. It's that simple. CRAs must maintain maximum possible accuracy, which is a CRA is a credit reporting agency. And that is from 1681 EB. E, E is in everybody. B. Furnishers must investigate and correct, which is 1681 S2. You have the right to dispute inaccurate items and force reinvestigation. It's a 30-day timeline. I'm currently going through one that's going like 5 months going because the business don't want to acknowledge who they are. So they're just racking up federal charges as is. And that's, I've been checking in every 30 days with the CFPB, try to get somebody to identify themselves. Oh, the car place. They won't identify themselves. And you can't not identify yourself if your name is on my credit. It's stupid. Um, if the furniture cannot verify, the CRA must delete the item. The credit reporting agency. They have to delete the item if the person who furnished the credit or whose name is on the credit reports cannot verify. And that's why I said they're racking up federal charges. Identity theft procedures. If fraud, file an FTC identity theft affidavit, and that's identitytheft.gov. A police report, and then send IDTF materials to the credit reporting agencies to block the fraudulent accounts. And what that is, I don't care, even if you get a letter that says there was a security incident at one of these damn companies, which is every day. File a identity theft, file a police report, and then report it. Now it does take time, and it does feel like it's worthless because I don't know, it just does. But just follow the administrative procedures, and you should be all right. Do a credit freeze and fraud alerts to prevent new accounts from popping up on your credit report. File complaints to the CFPB. The state attorney general offices, they can also investigate, which they don't. They act like they don't know a damn thing, and they act like they too busy. They too busy making new child support orders. That's about it. Fucking up families. That's about it. Civil remedies are if a credit furnisher or a creditor or the credit reporting agency violates any of the federal Credit Reporting Act laws, then willfully or negligently, consumers may have private causes of action, which can equal to statutory or actual damages and attorney's fees. So yeah, just sue the credit reporting agency and everybody else. I mean, I think people, you get like $1,000 per violation. I think that's what the law states in the Federal Credit Reporting Act, and it just takes too fucking long. Okay. But if you have some real damages, if something was to really happen and you got your proof of damages, like shit, you went crazy because you know they didn't got on your credit, now you can't get a fucking car. So now you had to go through all this shit. If you got hospital, you